So we're on to the grand finale for French month. This is the last platinum red, and this is the Chateau Cap Lousteau 2015 Bordeaux. And so this is from Haut-Medoc, which is on the left bank of Bordeaux. This is the region overall is south of Margaux. We've talked about Bordeaux a little bit. I mean, we haven't had a ton of Bordeaux's on the platinum list, but generally speaking, most people know about the left bank, right bank thing with Bordeaux. If it's left bank, it's going to be cab based. That's where all the first growth Bordeaux's are, like Mouton Rocher, Lafite Rocher, all that fun stuff. And then right bank is where all the Merlot based stuff is, and that's where you're gonna find the crazy expensive collector reds, like Pomerol based stuff, like what's the Petrus, right? Stuff like that. But this one is pretty interesting because Haut-Medoc Bordeaux tends to have a little bit more variety in terms of what varieties that it uses to compose the wine. So instead of just being like mostly Cabernet and a touch of something else, it's pretty equal parts. You get a majority Cabernet because this is left bank, but you do get just almost equal part Merlot, and then a little bit of Cab Franc and a little bit of Petit Verdot. So it actually spans almost the entirety of the Bordeaux variety spectrum, really only leaving out Malbec and Carmenere if you want to count that. When we look at this guy in the glass, they don't give us much information as far as how long it's aged in oak. I'm presuming it's a fairly heavy oak program. If it's Bordeaux, it's generally a year plus, that kind of thing. Overall, cold climate Bordeaux, so you're going to get a little bit more savory notes out of these overall. So you look at this, and it has definitely like a maroon hint to it. It's definitely been in the bottle for some time, and so the aging is starting to show a little bit, which works in our favor because, as I'm sure y'all know, Bordeaux, generally you want to leave it alone for a while, so it turns into something really, really special. But you get this overall kind of garnet color. Hard to see through, definitely a lot of rim variation, fades to this brickish red on the outside. You look at the legs and you can just almost see them perfectly in the glass. Slower legs, higher alcohol, that kind of thing. So when you get to the nose, you get these red fruits, you get these black fruits overall, really focusing on the black fruits like kind of cassis, blackberry. You get a little bit of like cedar in there. You get a touch of vanilla from what I presume is some pretty heavy oak usage, and then just a little bit of earthiness and smoke to it. Not a ton, but a little bit. It smells like Bordeaux. It smells rich. It has all the, kind of checks all the boxes off, so to speak. Yeah, so medium to heavy bodied overall. Apparent tannins, very fine grain, kind of woody tannins. Medium plus acid, kind of has those standard structural features that you would think of when you think of Bordeaux. Tons of fruit, again, as you would expect. Very pronounced woodiness to it, pronounced like kind of cedar, mesquite aspect to it. You get these savory baking spices. You get a little bit of like herbe de Provence in the background. It just adds this very fresh, savory aspect to not only cut the fruit, but also add a little bit of lightness to these other more heavy savory aspects like the earth and the oak that we talked about. So you might think offhand, Bordeaux steak, Cab steak, that kind of thing, which you wouldn't be wrong. It would be fine. But I would maybe, just because this does have some pretty complex, interesting nuances to it, I would, maybe try pairing it with something a little bit more umami driven. Think like probably something like mushroom based, like a mushroom ragu or something like that. You could go with like turkey and like pancetta, something like that. Some kind of like cannellini bean based dish, just something with a little bit more pronounced savoriness than something just overly rich like steak.